Born and raised in Barara, a remarkably young man, Ramadan Chimbugwe, strives to nurture the confidence of young souls with his 21st century startup, Prowess Communications. With this, the little stars learn public speaking, a venture that digs miles out of parents.
Yes, thank you very much. I welcome you to the Startup Talk today. I am Sankala Vyarohanga, your show host, here to remind you that the Startup Talk is here for me and you, especially of the same age. And our major goal here is to ensure that you learn from people like our guest today to start your own business. You run it, you become successful, and you help other people that are perhaps the age that we are today. Now today, we're joined by a gentleman that is championing communication as a way of having businesses and startups. Talk of SMEs all thrive in what we call marketing. By the way, if you cannot actually communicate it, then you do not know it. And perhaps you're not going to run that business that you're not ready to explain. Today here, we have a gentleman, Mr. Ramadan Chimbugwe, the popular Ramadan. You're welcome to the Startup Talk.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, we are going to have a short break, and when we return, we get to hear the story of Prowess Communications, led by a gentleman that we have in today.
Uri omuhingi kandi uruhire kwibwa bakayungirizi abari kuguraho ebihingwa byawe aha amahendo mike munonga okora n'amani oyihamu kake waba nokimanya ngu hariho omuringo guri kubaasa kumaraho ebi byona kandi nkwanjurire Let's Farm Up. Egi n'enkora ya tekinologiya eri kukuyamba kuguza ebihingwa byawe aha beeyi y'akatare ori kukozesa esimu yawe nari karimagezi hona hori eshaaha yoona obaase kwikiriza ebirooto byawe otunguuke obwo ori kubiikira nyensya. Yegiita aha nkora egi etari y'okushashurirwa leero yegiita aha bahingi bagenzi bawe abahingisa abari kuguza embibo z'omutindo hamwe n'abari kuha abahingi obuyambi bwa sente. Obwa hati twegiiteho ori kurabira ahari www.letsfarmup.com ninga Facebook eya Let's Farm Up narishi otere ningo sindiche obutumwa ahari WhatsApp number noti 393 25 26 5 note.
Hello, my fellow pupils and other school children. My name is Ariela Teta Mugisha, and because of coronavirus, we have not been able to go to school and learn. But it doesn't mean that we should stop learning. Me here, I have Brain Planet that will help me learn and give me some work to do. Brain Planet is an app that gives children work. You can learn, and then when we go back to school, we can be able to pass tests and exams. For example, Brain Planet has given me this work, and the first question says, a pen costs shillings 400. Find the cost of two similar pens. If you want to find the cost of two similar pens, get the price of one pen and add it 2 times. And the second question says, what is the product of 6 and 20? And the key of this question is the word product. And product means multiplication. So you get 20 multiplied by 6 and the answer will be 120. And I want to thank my mommy for assisting me with her phone and teaching me how to do this. All you have to do is write www.thebrainplanet.com. You can also try this.
Yes, thank you very much. I welcome you from the short break, and now we get into the details of Prowess Communications. But before, as any other African home, we could first understand who is Ramadan Chimbugwe.
Thank you so much for having me on the Startup Talk.
Yes.
My name is Ramadan Chimbugwe. Most people know me as Rama.
Yes, popular Rama.
Yes, Rama is a nickname that I got when I was in high school, and to be precise, that was from around senior 2.
Okay.
And it's been my nickname.
What inspired that?
So I think for most people, they found the trouble pronouncing my name, Ramadan. So they wanted a shorter version of the name that could enable them really call me anytime. So Ramadan, I think it was a bit lengthy and hectic for them. So they wanted the simpler way of, addressing me. And I never had trouble with it. And from that time, it's been my nickname till this day.
And now that tells us that you're pro people. I have seen names like, you can, for example, say Sankara in a short form, but that's a story for another day. Now, who is Ramadan Chimbugwe?
Ramadan Chimbugwe, I was born 30 years ago, to be precise, in Imbara, and that was in Kacheka, Kamukuzi division here.
You were born here?
Born and raised here. I attended Ansara Nursery School. That was like the first experience to do with schooling.
Okay.
From there I went to Boma Primary School for my entire 7 years of primary.
Yes.
From there then I went to Ngano High School for my O-level. 4 years.
Ghana guys, you're there?
Yes, crossing over to Standard High School, Zana, where I did my A-level, and then from there I went to Makerere University Business School, where I pursued a business administration course.
Yes.
And majored in marketing.
Oh,
yes.
You've seen Mbarara grow from grass to now the city.
Yes, for most of my time I've been here, I've seen most of the things that we've seen take place in the past 20 years or so.
Yes.
I've been really actively involved in seeing all the changes. I've been able to see companies coming here, organizations, schools starting up, businesses starting and they are closing. So I've been part of the ecosystem of what this town is in numerous ways.
Talking about actually ecosystem, I have had several colleagues of mine. You ask them, okay, I interact very much with young people that are trying to do several things that involve corporate classes. And when you talk about who is that person that is going to connect me to the corporate team of Mbarara, and the name Ramadan comes in, we could first understand part of your story. We see that you, as we have seen a few minutes ago, you inspire young people.
Yes.
Totally young people.
Yes.
With that power of speaking.
Yes, the power of speaking is not something that I really discovered of late. It's something that has been on for quite some years. And then I reached this point where I felt like now I can take it to another level and maybe monetize it, because I felt like it was a need. So whenever you go out there and you're doing something, people give you feedback on different aspects. So I would reach out to people, I call my role models or mentors, and I tell them, what do you think is really something that I'm doing so well that I can be able to leverage and stand out from the crowd? And they used to tell me that, you have that gift when it comes to communication. When you stand up to speak, when you're engaging somebody, there's a way you give them attention with empathy, with kindness. So if you can see how you can be able to tune that to match what is actually existing challenges in the market, that can be something that you can leverage on, and you become a business person or entrepreneur. So I now went on to a journey of self-discovery.
What was that? What was the year are we talking about?
That was that was 2009, 2010.
2009.
Yes, that was during my senior 6 vacation.
Okay.
When I finished my senior 6 vacation, I did not immediately go to the university.
Yes.
The financial circumstances at home could not allow me to immediately go like other people do. So I had another year at home without being at school.
Okay.
So I asked myself, what is it that I can do during all this time? Because I cannot be idle here every day and you're going through the same routine.
Yes.
So I asked myself and I said, I think I can be able to teach. I have an interest in teaching. I had done economics well at my A level and entrepreneurship. So I said, let me look around and I see which opportunities I can have on that front.
Yes.
And I got some adult school where I got an opportunity
to teach.
Okay. So I walk into this office on a Friday afternoon. So I tell the director that I want a teaching opportunity. So he sees me, a small boy, coming in for a teaching opportunity. He said, are you a teacher by profession? I said, no, I'm in my senior 6 vacation, but I have an interest or passion in
You are a
this
teacher by dream.
Yes. So I think I can teach. He said, okay, I'm going to give you a chance next week, Monday. You come, I have a class that is offering economics.
Yes.
Come take them through one of the lessons, and he shared the topic with me. And he said the feedback they will give me after that lesson will determine whether we can maintain you and you teach or you move on.
And certainly they did.
Yes, they did. So I teach. That very night the man didn't call back. So the next day he didn't call back again. So I was like on panic. I said, why is this man calling me?
Yes.
So after 2 days he called me and said the feedback was very good. So we want you to come here and we see what opportunities we can discuss in regard to what you want to do here. We see the contribution you're going to make, what time you're going to dedicate to other institution. And from since then, I've never looked back.
Wow. Now, there's a story, especially about communications, where someone tells you that you can actually teach people. Had you really realized that you could actually do it? Within you would feel, okay, I think...
at that age, really, I hadn't noticed that I could do it. The idea of getting out there and empowering people or nurturing them in communication came in when I was in my first formal job, and that was Igongo Culture Center. So I got a sales job there, and through my experience in sales and marketing work, I noticed so many people, they never really make it through when it comes to that career line. And the biggest barrier or challenge which they normally face is to do with communication. You find these salespeople, marketing people, they go out there, but at the end of the day, their efforts do not actually translate into any results. Because in the first case, they cannot really, you're selling your product, but you cannot actually even talk about it precisely to somebody that you're looking up to out there, a prospect. So I said, this challenge that salesmen, marketeers are facing out there, I think for me I can be able to turn it around and I sell it to the community so that people can be able to acquire this skill. Because this is a challenge which most people are facing due to the fact that our education system, its entire way of structuring, does not actually enable us to acquire these skills. So you go into the school, and then at the end of the day, when you tell somebody, who are you, what are you good at, they cannot actually express themselves. So I said, this is something that I can leverage on because it's a need in the community. It's what people want. I love it, I have passion for it, and they are ready to pay for it. It's about how you package it and sell the idea to them out there that they will have an interest and come in to buy from you.
How do you get to Igongo?
When I finished university, some of my colleagues were convincing me to apply for a teaching job at the university, but I never had interest in that because I was this person who wanted to go out there and explore.
Had you now lost the dream of teaching?
No, I had the dream of teaching, but the nature of how teaching is in the university, once you get there, you're confined in there, you're like into the academic world. You study for the 3 years, and then now you apply for the teaching opportunity without even going out there to really apply what you've learned in school. So there was something I wasn't comfortable with. I said if I ever get interested towards teaching, probably it will be after getting an opportunity to go out there and put to use what I have learned. So for me, I was looking at getting a job opportunity where I could go and put to use what I have learned, make mistakes, learn, solve problems, and then that way, when you get to the class arrangement, you can be able to provide solutions which are from a practical sense of it. You've been in an environment, and what you're trying to share with the students, they can relate.
I think that's a remarkable story. We have seen several individuals, our colleagues, it could be you perhaps, that you ask, what job can you do? And they'll tell you, please bring on any job. But indeed, actually, you might not do any job. But the most important thing here is if you were Ramadan at that time and you're given an opportunity to teach at the university, perhaps a lecturer in the making, you could have taken that opportunity. And now, we want to understand why Ramadan really. decides not to take that path, but rather face the world. And in so doing, today we have Prowess Communications. Well, Ramadan, now talking about Prowess, we have seen thriving businesses really build from what they call a challenge, and then they come in with a solution, and it's that solution that keeps them going, because anyway, people want that solution to solve a particular challenge. At that time, while forming Prowess Communications, what challenge did you notice is in the community, in Mbarara where you've grown up from, and then you think you could solve? And perhaps 5 years from now, it's that challenge that people want to get solved that will keep Prowess thriving.
Public speaking, from the researches that have been done by some of the most credible institutions across the world, is ranked as the #1 fear in the world for most people.
Okay.
Ahead of death and the fear of snakes and heights. To me, that was profound.
People fear to speak.
The fear of standing up and expressing yourself in small and big crowds of people. For many people, it's the #1 fear in the world. Wow. So that was very important. So I imagined if somebody has that fear to express themselves,
yes,
do you know what that one is going to keep away from the rest of the world? Ideas will never be able to come up. You'll never be able to share insights to do with maybe marketing or the sort. If there is a challenge that the company is facing, somebody may keep with the idea because they are not confident enough to express themselves and maybe provide solutions. So I said, how can I now come in and I rein in and handle this challenge from a tender age? Because for most people, that fear, we notice it when they are already adults. But for me,
they can't do anything.
Yes, I said for me now, my approach, I want to also see how I can have an inclusive approach, which can enable these young ones get the skill from a tender age. They grow up with a passion, with that love for self-expression. By the time they get to my age, or maybe before where I am,
yes,
they are really doing excellently well.
Peppers in the streets, drain the house, avoid bad air, keep the forest green. Dear friends, let us keep our environment clean, avoid diseases like Ebola, cholera, typhoid, and malaria. Together we can protect our environment. Memorize poems, memorize stories, memorize dreams, and memorize songs. Let's talk about my father. My father is called Graham. My mother is called Mother, and my sister is called Charlotte, and my other sister is called Charlotte. My name is Asante Angela. I have come here to talk about national parks. My name is Mine, and I have come here to talk about 2 things. 1. The definition of body language. 2. Examples of body language.
I'm here to talk about 2 things. 1. The definition of body language.
Before I start, I would like to define the term laziness. Laziness is the process by which one fails to do work.
Help us to speak in public with confidence and vigor. Public speaking, my dear.
We talk about examples of body language. 1. Eye contact. 2. Hand gesture. 3.
To have presentations about your business ideas that you are able to work out within your groups.
Before you is Team Kenya presenting a business idea called poultry farming. But before I present, may I introduce my team members. Joy, Vicky, Donald, McDonald, Wisdom, and I. What we are going to make? We are going to rear chicken for meat, eggs, and the feathers for decoration. What we are going to need? We are going to make 146 heads of chicken, vaccines, poultry feeds, feeding troughs, drinkers, 5 charcoal stoves for warming the chicks, and shelter for the chickens. May I introduce to you our budget?
My name is Ruba Darrell, and I'm here with my team. This is Team Rwanda. I'm with my team members, Clarice, Henrietta, Luke, Mark, Angela, and I, Ruba Darrell, the team leader for this group. what to do and make, rare cattle for milk, beef, hides and skin, milk products such as ice cream, yogurt, butter, ghee and cheese. What is needed? 20 dairy cattle, 20 acres of land, a pickup truck for transporting milk to the dairy, 5 cans for the milk. Now the budget. The dairy cattle.
And these are the two members: Anita, Isaac, Annie, Shima, Brian, and me. What to do or make? To operate a restaurant business for breakfast, lunch, and supper. What is needed? Saucepans, tables, chairs, tablecloth, a menu, an oven, a refrigerator, a microwave, and a toaster, spices, cups, and plates. This is our budget.
Oh yes, the kids you just saw are actually trained by the gentleman we have right here, and he tells you the fear of public speaking can actually be well managed if your kid started really getting used to it at that very age. Now, the company that does that is called Prowess. Wow, and that is Prowess for you. Now, Ramadan, several people here watching would like really to have also a take on 21st century businesses like Prowess Communications. How do you start this? Did you have money, for example? What did it take? What is the story of Prowess Communications?
Now, the story is that it's not something that came up like in one day.
Yes.
When I joined the Igongo Culture Center from day one, my target was to be there for a maximum of 3 years.
Okay.
So I never wanted to work with a company for more than 3 years. So every day I was already thinking of what do
When did you get to Igongo?
I get there November 2014.
Oh.
And I started as a graduate trainee for 6 months before I could get any contract to work with the company. Then along the way, I got an opportunity to work as a full-time employee. Then from that day, because I was very specific and particular about my journey in terms of career, I wanted to be there for maximum of 3 years. Because my idea was that at the end of the 3 years, I should be stepping out to do my own things. So every day...
Well, now that you're retained, what job are you doing?
I started as a sales executive.
Okay.
Then rose through the ranks up to when I was head of sales and marketing by the time I left.
Okay.
And by the time I left, I had already, over the years, I'd been planning for the exit. And I knew the exit would be leading me to really running my own venture.
Within the 3 years?
Yes. So every day I would attach thoughts to the planning. How will I be able to start off this idea? So, and because I was somebody who was into this, I'm not like selling physical items or it's a shop where I'm dealing merchandise, it's a service. So what I needed was so much to invest in networks, knowledge, those competencies.
Okay.
The money was not so much of a big deal because for me I thought the biggest thing is the idea.
Wow.
Once the idea is really good enough, people will be able to nourish it with the money by buying from you, and then along the way you can be able to manage those challenges that come in.
How do you start Prowess?
So I leave Igongo end of January 2018.
Yes.
Then I went to Kampala. I did a course in public speaking for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because I was very sure and precise about what I was going to do, I felt like I need to go out there and I also get the skills, really the formalities of what it is to do with public speaking. Much as I've been watching so many TED Talks, I've been listening to a number of podcasts that had given me insight about the thing.
At that time, no public speaking lectures in your motherland?
Yes.
And you have to travel to Kampala?
Yes, I went to Kampala. That's why I did a course at Public Speaking Uganda. Then coming back here to set up the first of its kind in the region.
Wow. What was it like? You come back to Mbarara, ready now, you have grasped skills, you've watched YouTube, you've gathered everything,
yes.
And now you're ready to go.
Yeah, I was ready to go because I'd already given myself time. I'd chosen the business name that I wanted to be known for.
Okay.
I had somebody who was very good at graphics. I gave him a concept of my logo. He worked on a very good logo. Then I say, now for starters, I'm not going to register a company in the sense of company limited by shares. Let me start by registering a business name. I start small. Then as I grow, when the need comes in, I can now move it to that next level. So I got URSB formalized by registering a business name, which is very key if you are getting into business. Then I now started thinking of the idea of now rolling out everything that I had in plan to do with what I'm going to offer. One of the aspects was a public speaking concept, but for the start I was looking at the adults. So I started creating programs for the adults. Then along the way I get organizations calling me to structure the same for their people, to do needs assessments. And then along the way I saw really some hope coming in from all corners.
Now, there's something you talked about within your start, Rama. You've not been this company that has made really sales, you have several workers, but you go ahead to brand your company. You first told us you get a logo. And by the way, what we usually do is recognize such individuals. You talked about a gentleman that did for you a logo.
Yes.
We need to recognize that one. Who is it?
The person who did that for me is my friend. He's called Namanya Ian.
Wow.
He's based in Kampala. He works with an advertising agency.
Ian, thank you very much. We're here because Ian perhaps visualized everything and in your mind you said, okay, I need to get this.
Yes, he really understood the concept so well.
Now, still talking about that, you register a company and please, if you're trying to start a business, just imagine you had an idea like Rama's. You want to train people's kids in public speaking, then you reach this parent that is actually learned because anyway, that is high. I think those are the target parents, majorly, those are your clients.
Yes.
Trust me, you're going to face it rough if you're not formal. And now, that is why you need to think of at least securing a name and register. URSB is here for us. Now, rather than you register, at that time, had you gotten any gig, as people call it? Had you really trained anyone, for example? Had you had really Prowess done any business before you register, or?
No, I wanted to start off everything when I've registered, and because it was very key. I didn't know what with this situation where you're walking into people's offices to introduce a product and then they ask you, are you registered? And then you're like, I'm thinking of registered, and yet they expect something better from you. So I said, in a way to minimize all those queries from coming in, let me take my time, I have this registered. So that once you kick off from a point where things are really clear and everyone will have a basis to trust you, to deal with you, rather than just an individual. They know they are dealing with an entity which is recognized legally.
Yeah. What was your first gig after registration? Do you remember that first business or training session you held?
Yes, my first gig was I got an opportunity to work with an organization. It was an end of year staff party, so they wanted me to engage them on aspects to do with communication, bonding, working in teams. So it was some kind of a team building kind of arrangement, but with emphasis on communication and the role it plays in fostering teamwork, trust and collaboration in that regard. So that was the first organization.
Okay, you had registered in which year?
I registered in April 2018.
And that gig came?
The gig came in July.
Wow.
Yes.
So that was a few months later.
Yes.
And now you do your first gig and you feel okay.
Yes.
Yes. Now we're going to go for a short break. When we return, we get to know now what has Mr. Ramadan achieved ever since. From that first gig, has he really done anything in Barada? You're still watching Prowess Communications, and it is the Startup Talk. Now, Rama, we got to hear about the story, how you started and all this, your first gig. What have you achieved so far? What has Prowess Communications done so far?
It's quite a lot.
Yes.
I have supported a number of brands in the region, and even beyond Bara.
And maybe to begin with, what are the services? What are you known for within this period ever since?
Many people know me and the company majorly for the public speaking trainings or aspect.
Okay.
But the other aspect of the service mix that we offer is consultants in areas of marketing, sales,
consultants,
yes, and customer service. And that's specifically for hospitality establishments. So if you have a hotel or you set up a very high-end restaurant, we can help you put up the right structures in regard to marketing and sales and customer service.
Wow.
Yeah.
What else can Prowess do?
So as the kids are attending the formal programs at school, me, I'm marketing this holiday program with the parents, reaching out to them, showing them the benefits, and then they sign up their children, ready to have them for the program when the holiday kicks in.
Now, talking about parents, perhaps you could be doubting what a young man. You're not offended, right?
I'm not.
Well, thank you very much. Now, let's watch some testimonials. What are parents commenting about what this gentleman can do?
To actually build his confidence besides making friends. And I'm glad he was part of this, which I actually commend the trainer for that. And I'm really grateful, and hopefully in the next training we can have him back. For more interaction with the other children. Thank you so much.
I like your coaching style or training style. When you engage with the children, they do appreciate because you give them time, you are kind, you're patient with them, and I think all of them going to learn something from this session, which is really important. Thank you very much. Thank you, children, for taking your time to learn. And we look forward to more of this because they learn a lot. Steps they have
Just a word of appreciation to Rama and this big class. I was here at the university the other college.
The organizers of this program, in particular Rama. Thank you for being a visionary person. This is something that we really
were aware, but this I must say I'm happy what she presented was like the national park, and I believe it was related to what she saw the other side. Thank you very much, Rama. And what I would encourage the parents, especially for those who have seen the presentations of their children, let us go back home, especially those who also don't have the confidence to present themselves here. It's not that all of us, the parents, can stand where those children stand. Some of us, I know some of my friends cannot even stand there. Yes, I know. And when you see when the children, they are still, but as the parents who are here, especially the men, if you know your wife is shy and cannot present herself, you interact with our children a lot, and it gives them also the confidence. Because like for this topic she was presenting today, she kept on asking me, Mommy, you watch what I'm doing. So you imagine I was too busy for her to see what she's presenting. It would also relate to a lack of confidence when she's in front there. Some of us have been taken up by WhatsApp, and we do not have time for our children. We don't have time to see how they present. Are they shy? Are they timid? We give fees and we stop at that. So as parents, let us also encourage these children.
Wow, Ramadan, we need to now understand that is really some good work there. I do not know what challenges could you be facing with this? Yes.
One of the challenges is that most parents do not appreciate why this skill is key, because for many the idea is on the grades.
I think we're talking about parents that haven't tried it out.
Yes, who haven't, because the way how this system is structured is that the narrative that is being sold is that you're focusing on the grades.
Okay.
Kids go into school and then they
Pass
get
exams.
super 80s and 90s, and for you think that's really
them on the street.
yes.
Very many.
And yet at the end of the day, research shows that kids who are able to express themselves very well, even if they are average, they are likely going to stay ahead of the rest because they open so many windows for them that the other ones who are only focusing on grades, they never get. You probably heard of people say, we've had so and so, he was a very great performer at the university, but out there it's a different story.
So many, yeah.
There was so much focusing on the grades and never worked on other aspects that are very key to thrive in the work environment. So these other ones who are seen as average, who go for these debating clubs and they nourish other skills, social skills, networking, they're the ones who go out there and they make it. They're the ones who go for events and they have the confidence to approach someone and say, I'm so and so, yes, where do you work from? And then the other person introduces. By the time you know it, somebody is really linking you somewhere where you can get it.
I have several colleagues really that are surviving in this Mbarara town just because they can explain a product that they don't even actually own.
Yes.
But they will convince you, you pay the money, and they will go look for the product and bring it to you. And I think that is the power.
Yes.
So you're saying parents are not seeing this.
Yeah, some of them have not yet appreciated it.
Yes.
So there is a lot of work that is needed for me to be able to really send the message down so that everyone appreciates it. And then gets to know that for you to acquire it, it's really an investment. For most of them, I don't want them to really see it as an expense. On their side, it's an investment. You're making an investment into your child so that tomorrow they can be the best version of themselves, better than who you are today.
Now, I believe that is a big challenge, but hey guys, this is Ramadan, yeah? The communication, guys. That is about persuasion.
Yeah.
Part of the mitigation, have you really thought of ways you can convince these parents to actually understand that the power of communication is key?
Yeah, I have a number of aspects or ideas that I'm working on to do with mitigating that challenge.
Yes.
One of them is I'm trying to see how I can work with schools, and then we have arrangements where we can have like talks with these parents. For example, most of the schools arrange like events every year where you have parents coming in and then maybe their kids are participating in sports and so on.
We used to call it speech day?
Yes, yeah. So you have this kind of arrangement with the schools where they give you a chance to also come and maybe I have an opportunity to like pitch. I offer a pitch there, and that's at the end of the day I'm looking at rallying them. I give a call to action for them to also consider this aspect. That if your kid is really good at playing the guitar, they love sports, they love basketball, this is also a very good avenue for them because it will enable them to express their talent more better than what they are now. So it's better you also consider it as an aspect of additional skill that they can acquire now, which is going to give them an edge over the rest.
When you talk about jobs, when you talk about interviews, when you talk about
relationships, dating,
exactly. I think it is much.
It is much. It's really broad.
Yes.
Not in the context of the things I've talked about. So many good things that were actually supposed to be great things, they ended just because of poor communication. Relationships have been able to really get an end just because of something that people, adults, could be able to really handle. But communication distorts everything because you don't know how you manage.
Have you learned anything from inspiring kids?
Yes, I have.
Could you share with us?
One of the things that I have learned from them is kids one thing that you should know about the children is that they are really honest in every aspect of how they approach things. And for you to deal with them, you need to be this person who is generous. You must be kind and patient. For some people, they really wonder, they ask me, but it's very rare for a man to come up and you're really dealing with children this age. Because for some people, they think like it's a very hectic environment.
That is exactly why I need to understand.
Yeah. One of the things I've learned is patience.
Patience.
You must be patient with everyone and understanding. Because these kids are not at the same level of understanding. Their backgrounds are different. They are spread across, they come from different neighborhoods, and you have them into this one central point where you're training them from. So you must be really compassionate enough to really go an extra mile, and you get to listen, do more of listening, and you get to know everyone's talent.
Ramadan, do you have plans of joining politics?
And not really.
Because I was told that the politic game is actually about communication. Who knows? But now, Ramadan, we are in a different time of period, really. The COVID-19 pandemic. It is affecting very many businesses, and I find that your business actually is one way or the other affected. But perhaps there are ways, perhaps an opportunity. Do you call COVID-19 a blessing or actually a curse?
Yeah.
If this situation is to continue for the next 2 years, is Prowess Communications closing?
And not really. I don't think it will be closing, because at the end of the day, you must find innovative ways of staying ahead of the game.
Okay.
One of the innovative ways is we have these kids who have been coming up for these programs, and they are sharing different stories or insights or things that they are passionate about. So we could look at approaches that can help us do the teachings or impart these skills using online platforms.
Okay.
The other day, Facebook announced that moving forward very soon, people will be able to pay for those online live streams. So if you're a musician and you have a live show, people will be able to pay a fee to watch that live show, because for them, they believe the future of entertainment is going to move away from the concerts that we've been used to now online.
Online.
Yes, so people can pay for that. So to what extent are you able to really match it with the times, and maybe say, now this time I'm going to have an online really package for these children, so that now parents can pay. And these are the times through which it runs. So you have to have your data and have this, and this is the fee that you're paying for every kid to just have these classes for 1 hour. So those are the approaches, because what has enabled everything that we are doing is technology, social media platforms. So when now COVID extends and the period is now longer, we must be able to look at those aspects of social media that we have not explored, which are very key to the success of our businesses. So I think we wouldn't close really.
Wow. Now, more than we could understand, because several years ago you had a dream of teaching. You certainly changed it a little bit to sales, then marketing. Now you came back to the real version of you teaching with passion and all that.
Yes.
Where is Prowess? And certainly Ramadan in the next 2 years or even more?
Okay, in the next 2 years, for starters, I would want to see this program really growing, having more parents coming on board to sign up their kids for the public speaking program, but also we want to grow our geographical reach, because this is specifically from Bara, and I've had so many parents from Kampala, some of my contacts reaching out to me asking, when are you doing the same in Kampala? So in the next 2 years, I hope I will be running a similar program in Kampala also. Once the capacity enables me, then we can probably have this running in every region of Uganda. And I want to see how I can even interest the Ministry of Education and some other partners who are into kids or children related work to do with empowerment, skilling them, so that we work together. In addition to the public speaking, we see what other aspects of trainings are very key for skilling these children that we can also include in our packages, so that it's a broad and rich experience for the children. So if you're signing up your kid in 2021 and then 2024 we are calling you for the same, we feel like there is reason to put in the money, because the package is improving and there is more that we are offering than what we were offering 3 or 4 years ago. So that's one approach that I'm also looking at. But the bigger ambition of this entity is that I would want in the long term to have a state top-notch communications hub that does 3 main things. One, empowering people to learn or acquire a skill of public speaking.
Okay.
Secondly, to have a top-notch auditorium where we host monthly events, like the same kind of TED arrangement, but here having our people to share stories to do with their businesses, everything in a local setting. And thirdly, I would want to have an entrepreneurship clinic where we mentor startup entrepreneurs on basic aspects to do with business, because most of them, they get into business but without really the understanding of those different dynamics that are very key to the survival of the businesses. So they get in there, hit hard, and they give up so quickly. So I would want an entrepreneurship clinic.
Wow. Now, that is really interesting. In a few years, like Roma tells us, a business clinic is really much important, especially for our beautiful city, Mbarara. But let me tell you what I wish for you, Rama. In 5 years, okay, perhaps I set my bar too way below or too way high, but at least I trust you. And what I wish to see is you influencing actually the policies, education policies, introducing public speaking, communication skills, being part of that compulsory work that a kid has to go through. I need to see you at the forefront of that.
Yes, I think that would be a very great milestone if my actions or my work can be able to really influence policy.
Yes.
And this really becomes part of the curriculum. To me, that would be a very big win.
Now, this parent watching, wanting a kid really to grasp these skills, what does he have to do?
We currently we access through our social media platforms.
Okay.
We have a WhatsApp number for the business. We have also a Facebook page for Prowess Communications, and that's where we've had most of the inquiries coming in from. But our most appropriate tool that we have used, which has worked so well, is WhatsApp. When it comes to marketing our programs, updating those statuses every day, people see them, then they make inquiries, then you share across your groups, and then the word spreads. But I've been largely thriving on my networks. Networks have been establishing over the years in my previous work environment. Those are the ones that have been able actually to give me, to amplify my brand beyond spaces that I could not go for, because I cannot afford advertising. I cannot afford going on a TV and I pay for maybe ads for a month or maybe on a radio to do that. But I'm taking up the networks that I've been able to build and the social media capabilities that come with the data to have my brand grow.
Wow. Now, of course, like he says, if you want to have your kid really be taken through some of these skills, public speaking, communication, entrepreneurship, all this, please visit their Facebook page, Prowess Communication, or they could call the number that we are currently showing on your screen. Now, Ramadan, this person really has been watching for the last 30 minutes. What word do you have to tell him? Please, let's try to assume that he's slightly lower or below 30 years of age or slightly above, having this dream of starting a 21st century business like yours, stranded, no idea.
What I can say is that the biggest project that you will ever work on in life is yourself.
Okay.
Business is a project or an idea that you have, but you need to first really work on yourself, because a business is run by people. It's not run by robots. At the end of the day, the extent to which you have worked on yourself will be able to be reflected in the brand you're going to run. If you have not really worked on your morals, if you've not worked on your dress code, branding yourself, etiquette, all those are going to actually affect your brand. So spend more time discovering yourself, who you are, what are you good at, what can you do, how can you translate this into the business idea. So we spend so much time worrying about what we can do and earn the money, as opposed to working on ourselves, because at the end of the day, it's you who is going to keep this business running. So put more time on working on yourself. Me, I've branded myself, and every other day I'm asking myself, what aspect of personal branding can I add to myself that will be able to make a big win for Prowess Communications? Yes, once people understand that, the rest of the things become easier, because that's how you build trust. Once you work on yourself very well and people feel, yes, you're reliable, you can be trusted, you deliver what you promise, then why can't you start a business and it thrives? Because, yes.
It is a question to you, and perhaps you already have the answer. Rama says the answer is that the business actually is you. You are the business. Work upon yourself. Find that you really can do good and you're good at. And trust me, think of an idea in that line. Brand yourself. Like the gentleman tells you, the business with life will become successful. Now, Ramadan, do you have communication people usually have books they read, the literature they go through? Could you share some?
Yes, I've really read quite a number of books. I'm passionate about reading. I read averagely 30 books every year.
30 books every year?
Yes, for the last close to 7 years I've been reading an average of 30 books every year. At times I shoot to 36, so it's quite a number of titles. But one of the books that really has made significant impact in my life is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Emil Frankl. It's one of the books that I've read. On the communication front, I've read a book called Talk Like TED. Talk Like TED. There is another one that I'm reading recently by a man called Kamain Gallo. He's one of the best communication coaches in the world. He has consulted for a very big global brands, and I've always looked out for most of his books. The other person that I find inspiration in is Chris Anderson, the head of TED, the curator of TED. He wrote a book called The Official TED Guide to Public Speaking. That's the guide, that the whole approach to TED, what you see, that's the book that has all the literature that they follow to stage those talks that we see, garnering billions and billions of views every year and making returns in terms of revenue for them.
Well, in times like this, please, I have to keep quiet, because a man like Ramadan will tell you reading 30 books, and that tells you that actually training your kid is not by mistake. The guy knows what he's doing. And how does this translate to you? Please, find that business idea that you think you can do, read much about it, understand it, become a pro of it, do it better than you actually thought about it. I have a friend of mine telling me you have to think 10 times of the solution that you can provide. Now, this is a startup talk. Ramadan, thank you very much for being part of us. Until I think next time, I want to see Prowess grow, 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 and grow. And the most important thing we want to see is that this gentleman and the lady watching also start a beautiful business. And part of their story, they're going to capture Mr. Ramadan as someone who inspired them. It is my startup, my hustle.